Welcome back to Creep It Weird with Liss and
Natty.
Liss and Natty in the his house.
Heck yeah. Look out, world. We're recording. Recording number 2 for the night.
We both went in the sun today and didn't die, so that's a plus.
I know. I did get a little bit of sun, and I wasn't out there very long.
I kept a hat on just in case, because that's always like the first burn of the face is terrible, or the
Yes.
back of the neck. So you have to be quick and you have to be very aware of where the shading is on trees and stuff and kind of hang under there if possible.
Yeah. All I have to do is walk like 20 feet and I get burnt. So,
Life of a redhead.
yep. Ginger for life.
My hair got browner. It's weird.
I look blonde.
No, you look red right now.
Yeah.
So in my pod lab, well, my closet, my cat chewed on my LED lights, so now it's stuck green. So now my hair always has like a green tint just because the LED lights around it, and I can't change them. The remote that came with it doesn't change anything. I can just click it and nothing happens. But it will change my son's bed color because he has LEDs around his bed, but it doesn't work for this, and it's the remote to this. So
That's so weird.
I know.
I'm excited. We got a Liss-A-Sode.
All right, we'll just go right in.
Hit me.
Spiritualism. It's a religion, well, a social religious belief that after we die, our spirits or awareness continues on and can be contacted by the living, whether directly or through a medium, not to be confused with spirituality, which is more about an individual journey to find a sense of purpose. This is the story of how a preteen and a teenage girl are said to have started the spiritualism craze.
All right. I'm in. Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Do you know it?
No, I don't think so.
Or the religion that swept through the United States and Europe well into the 20th century. At its peak, it claimed over 8 million followers, and it still exists today. Probably not to the extreme it was back then. So this starts in 1848 with the Methodist family, which consisted of John and Margaret Fox.
Wait, I might know. I might know this one.
Did you hear the emphasis on the Fox?
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
The family were farmers, the parents, and they had their daughters, Catherine or Kate Fox, who was age 11, and Margaret, who went by Maggie Fox, who was 14. The two other children didn't live with them. David was the older brother. He was away at college in Hydesville. And Leah was their older sister who lived in Rochester.
I think I'm really floored with this one. It sounds very familiar. If it's what I'm thinking of, I don't want to give it away by guessing.
You can guess.
Is this the toe gal?
It is.
Yes!
It's the Fox sisters.
That's why when you were like Fox, I'm like, oh, I think I know this one.
The girls' parents just got back together after they took a break so their father could deal with his alcoholism.
Oh.
And the family had just moved into this humble one-bedroom house that they were renting in Hydesville, New York. They moved in like a year prior. Already, the house...
Yeah, this already sounds like it sucks.
The house? Or just the life, living together? Like Uncle Joe?
Having mom, dad, and 2 teenage daughters, pretty much, living in one room.
The house was already known in the neighborhood as like the haunted house. You know how everyone has the house like, yeah, don't walk by there.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently one neighbor had said that they saw a salesman go in and never came out.
Okay.
And the girls started telling their parents that something strange was happening in the house.
And this is primo poltergeist time. I mean, you have 2 teenage daughters, an alcoholic, which I'm sure did not make life easy.
Yeah, just building tension is definitely fuel for a poltergeist situation. The parents, they heard this, but they just kind of brushed off the claims. And a few months later, on March 31st, 1848, the girls shared a room. Well, it's a one-bedroom house, so everyone shared a room.
Yeah.
They went to bed, and the parents started to hear noise coming from the communal bedroom. That sounds creepy. They heard knocking and tumbling
That sounds
sounds.
really gross.
It does. I want to take it back.
There were noises coming from the only bedroom in the house. Like,
Gross.
at least they weren't boys, I guess. Then it'd be a whole different sound or set of noise.
Oh, come on now. So the parents cracked the doors to kind of peek and see what's going on in there. And the girls were deep asleep, tucked into their beds. And the noise continued And then they were kind of startled awake, like, oh my gosh, what was that?
I already wish there was more detail. They heard noises. Like, are we talking pops, clicks, scratch,
They just said noises.
whoosh, the wind,
The girls were in there farting.
talking? Yeah, farting, farts, talks, something.
So Mrs. Fox sent her husband to get a neighbor for help, thinking this is something demonic, which I don't know if you're like, it's demonic, get the neighbor.
Yeah.
Sure. Mr. Fox came back with Mary Redfield, a neighbor. The shaken girls were just kind of sitting on the bed. They were trying to process what happened, and the girls just yelled out, count to 5. And to everyone's surprise, they heard a response of 5 knocks.
Okay. Escalated quickly.
And then the girls challenged it again, count to 15, and 15 knocks were heard back.
Damn, I would have went with a little lower number. Dear God.
You gotta wait 1, 2.
Let's hope they were fast knocks. Like, you got a woodpecker outside your door or something.
And then they asked, if you're an injured spirit, knock back 3 times, to the response of 3 knocks. And Mary Redfield, the neighbor, was there to bear witness to all of this.
At least they have a witness, I guess.
Mary was a very skeptical person, and the mother, I guess, testing the waters, asked the entity, how old is Mary Redfield? Which is kind of a rude question if you don't want everyone to know.
You could easily lie.
But you're testing a spirit, so I don't know. Everyone in attendance was listening.
Let's hope she was young. Otherwise, we got a lot more knocks.
Everyone in attendance was listening and counting the knocks, which totaled 33, which was exactly how old Mary was. So at 33, you shouldn't really be. You should be ashamed of your age anyways, because once you hit a certain age, I feel like you get more of a, like, I don't give a fuck attitude, which I'm waiting for that to fully come on.
Yes. Oh, mine's already there. You kidding me? I'm already old as dirt.
I am too, but I just want the I don't give a fuck wash over me. You know how, like, you're 90 and you can say whatever you want to whoever you want? That's what I want.
Oh, you mean I'm supposed to wait till I'm a certain age for that? Oops.
Another neighbor, William Dussler, was a witness to the knocking as well. I got slight variations on who came and went in what order, but she was inviting everyone over. And she kept looking for a logical explanation, or maybe just looking for confirmation that the family wasn't losing their mind and that communication continued. One of the girls would snap her fingers and something would knock back, repeating the numbers of times she snapped.
Okay.
The girls started calling the knocking, whatever it was in the house, Mr. Splitfoot.
Oh, Lord.
And this is gossip worthy in the town, so news.
Are you picking a... Do you know why?
I
You
do.
know what a good reason why they might have called it Mr. Splitfoot?
We'll circle back to it, yeah. You can bring it
Okay.
up later.
Okay.
And of course, this was gossip worthy. So news spread quickly. I mean, what else was happening at this time? In some articles, it said that at least a dozen people were at the Fox's house the next day. They were all trying to communicate with the dead. While others say it was in the hundreds that they wanted to go there and witness it for themselves. The idea of young girls that could communicate with the supernatural, like this was a brand new concept to them. So, of course, the girls were called, no guess,
Creepy.
witches.
Oh, witches. I'm seeing a pattern in the last couple episodes.
I'm in a witchy mood lately. I don't know what's going on.
We are in a witchy mood. I like it, though.
You know, women does anything, they're a witch. And even a nearby church even asked the family to stop coming, which is like such a dick move.
You'd think they would want them there more?
You would think. People would come by the house and ask the spirit questions, and the same thing, they would get knock replies. Some believed and some were like, no, this is all bullshit. They had many people criticize them, and they thought that they were making it all up. Over the next few days, the sisters developed a system. Knock 1 for yes, or knock 3 for no, which not 2, 3. Okay.
I mean, I have a similar system set up when I do my spirit box sessions, only mine is, you know, no light means no, and you light it up means yes, because it takes that extra effort to do it. But I don't do 3, it's just light it up.
And the same thing with indicating letters. If they wanted to spell something out, you would have to wait for a C, like knock, 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 like A, B, C. And if they wanted to say F, it would be A, B, C, D, E, F, which seems so long.
It's like the rotary phone of Ouija boards.
Imagine having names with like a bunch of Z's in it.
Oh, man, that would suck.
Actually, the name did have it. The unknown source of communication spelt out his name as Charles B. Rosna,
Okay.
a peddler who was murdered over $500, and his remains, he said, were buried in the basement. And they wanted to dig that up that night. but everything flooded from the rain. So as soon as it was dry enough to do so, the basement was searched. And there was said to be a false wall that they found. And behind there was some bone fragments and some hair.
Okay, I'm not sure where the rest of the body's at, but okay.
Rumors flying around town still. A lawyer named E. Lewis of Canada went to go check this out. He asked the neighbors and the parents all about what was happening, and he ended up going on to publish a pamphlet.
A pamphlet? Not even a full book. It's just a pamphlet.
No, it was titled A Report of the Mysterious Noises Heard in the House of John D. Fox. And this pamphlet made its way to Leah, the sister, in Rochester, the older girl's sister that I mentioned, and that's how she learned what was going on. Like, the family didn't even tell her. She had to find a pamphlet and be like, oh, that's what my family's up to.
Oh my gosh, it's like they're selling timeshares or something.
So the mother, trying to protect her children from whatever was happening in the house, she ended up sending her daughter Kate to go live with Leah, who was about 20 years older. She was 35.
Same.
Having been married, her name was Leah Fox Fish.
Wow. Can we add any more animals to this name? Can we get a trout?
Leah Trout Fox Fish.
Foxfish, bear, porcupine, platypus.
The third. She
the
lived
zoo.
in Rochester. She was a single mother, which back then must have sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Her husband was said to be an alcoholic that abandoned her and her daughter Lizzie. So for social reasons, she just told everyone that her husband died, which I get that.
Probably a safer option.
And the way she made it was she gave piano lessons to support herself and her daughter. Mrs. Fox sent Maggie, the other daughter, to stay with her brother David. But even at David's and at Leah's, the rapping noises were still happening, so it seemed to follow the daughters. So it wasn't the house. It seemed to be following the girls around.
Ironic.
So the girls ended up getting back together, like not separating. They both stayed together and went to Leah's house. So both the girls were staying with their sister. I made that so much more confusing than it had to be, explaining that.
I wonder why the brother did not keep the sister. And can you imagine, like, it was hard enough back then being a single mom, and then you're adding 2 more children on top of that?
But childcare.
Let me tell you, as a single mom, like, right now, it's freaking hard.
It's expensive as shit.
Yeah.
But it could have been she's lonely, too. I mean, she has a baby by herself.
True.
Word of their ability spread. People would come by Leah's house and the girls would help free of charge. They'd try to, assist them communicating with those on the other side. And some that went to go get readings by the girls said that they felt touched or brushed by something that passed by them. They'd hear knocking when they would ask questions. Tables were even said to levitate and other things would happen. I don't know what other things are, but other things.
Oh. Do we have an ectoplasm kind of situation? That'd be interesting.
I wish. I hope you cover ectoplasm.
The shit people used to do to make it look like ectoplasm was insane. Like,
how could you not know that that's like cheesecloth? Like, how could you be sitting in the audience and be like, oh, that's ectoplasm? Like, how do you believe that? I don't get it. Unless lighting...
I guess it depends on what you mix with it. If it's this black, goopy, I can't even imagine having that in my mouth or my nose.
And then they have to, suck it back up after?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Well, as word continued to spread about the girls, people started reaching out to have the girls perform private seances, trying to communicate with specific people. Prominent community leaders like Isaac Post and Amy Post. Grieving parents to a recently deceased daughter. They invited the Fox sisters into their home in hopes of communicating with their departed daughter. And they were known skeptics, but they claimed to have witnessed, quote, very distinct thumps under the floor and several apparent answers. So now the girls had the support of the posts, which added more validity. So up until now, the girls didn't charge any money, but people would leave tips as gratitude. And even with just the tips, Leah was like, I'm making more than I was making doing piano lessons. So she was like, okay, I'm your manager.
Oh, yeah. Like any good big sister would do.
She booked the girls a gig, the first big gig they ever got. It was in 1849. Maggie and Kate, or as they were called now, the Fox sisters, did the first public display of spiritualism for paying customers, ever. And this was at the Corinthian Hall in Rochester. Rochester's in New York. I don't know if I even said that.
I watched a lot of Law and Order, so I know that one.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a Rochester, Mass, too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. It's all like
Oh, okay.
fields and horses. My friend that lives out there has a bunch of horses. It's just like nothing.
Oh.
It looks like you're going to get killed when you go down any street. It's like any farm type serial killer movie. That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah, no thanks.
But it's beautiful, too. So at the Corinthian Hall in Rochester, people were charged 25 cents a person to a crowd of nearly 400 people. So what's that?
I feel like back then that's expensive.
Yeah, definitely. When people like, I used to go to the movies for, 5 cents and get popcorn.
Well, because you would see these old pamphlets or advertisements for like a freak show, and it was like 5-10 cents a pop. So for them to charge 25, that's insane.
1849. Let's do a conversion.
You said 1849?
1849.
25 cents.
$8.34 a ticket.
Okay, yeah, the AI overview just says purchasing of about $10.50 or $11 for 25 cents.
Okay. So around $10. Okay.
So that's not too bad.
And that's for 400 people they got.
Damn.
Yeah. And in this crowd wasn't just people there to see the girls communicate with the other side. There were also many skeptics there trying to prove that this was all a hoax. These young, pretty girls weren't what the audience really expected to see up there. But by the end of the show, the audience, a lot of them changed and they believed it, and the audience just burst into cheers. After the show, a committee was actually formed in order to disprove the girls, and they would check their clothing for some sort of device, and they were tested over and over trying to prove fraud. They placed them on glass, they placed the girls on pillows, and they would try all these different techniques trying to figure out what was going on, what was causing this. And the shows continued, and on the third night of the show, the girls were brought into a room, and they were actually disrobed and examined.
Okay, that's a little excessive. I like that they're trying to debunk it, but there's a line.
These are kids.
Yeah.
That's gross. And nothing was found, but the girls were said to have been in tears.
Well, yeah.
And eventually the community was like, stop, this is too far.
Good.
On the fourth night, it was announced that they could not find any trickery after they put these girls through all this freaking trauma.
I'm wondering when they were inspected and like derobed, if it was in private by somebody or if they did it like on stage.
No, they were brought back to do it, but they still have like men and whatever around them, these young girls. However they're doing it, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But the skeptics in the audience didn't like this, so they ended up setting off fireworks, and they just burst into this huge riot. Law enforcement had to be called in to break it all up, and by 1850, everyone knew the Fox sisters' names, even Leah, because now she claims she had abilities too.
Oh, of course.
So the Fox sisters, the three of them, were doing shows now. And they were also doing private seances for those who could afford them. They were making a ton.
Hey, get it while you got it, I guess. Hey, maybe Leah had a near-death experience and she developed some sort of gift. It's possible.
She saw the paycheck and she was like, oh my gosh, hold on. I'm feeling it.
I'm getting a feeling from deep within.
My pocket, it's jingling. So they set up the Fox Sisters tour. Some people were astonished at the girls' ability, while some were still skeptical. They performed at the Barnum Hotel in New York, where they booked a suite, and they had this huge round table in the room, and they would have about 30 people per session. They'd hold 3 sessions a day, and they would hold private sessions in between. Can you imagine that bank?
Okay, as a person who deals with some of this stuff, that would be utterly exhausting. I mean, when things really truly happen to you that are unexplainable, it physically drains you. I mean, they're using your energy too, and it is exhausting. I mean, you'll get headaches, you'll feel fatigued, you just overall it feels like you ran a marathon. If you're in there for too long and you're doing it for too long, it physically takes a toll on you. So if these girls really did have something going on, they would be exhausted doing 3 with some in between.
3 with 30 people. So you're probably going from person to person on the table. You're not just like doing one person and be like, all right, we're done.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So at the sessions with 30 people, they were charging $1 a person, which that wasn't too shabby back then.
Damn.
Plus, I'm sure more for the private ones.
That's like $40. That's like $40 a pop nowadays.
For girls that that lived in a 1-bedroom doing like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Buckets house, all the 4 grandparents in the bed, like living like that to now making this. And this was a time where women didn't really have the same job opportunities as men, so they were making bank. And during this time, the media and people would mock them too. The Scientific American called them, quote, the spiritual knockers from Rochester.
Spiritual knockers.
While others were in complete awe of their ability. Leah ended up staying in New York, where she married a banker who worked on Wall Street, and Kate and Maggie returned to venture off on their tour. They hit Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, Maggie met a man, Elijah Kent Kane. And
well, at least it wasn't an animal.
That's true. I know. I wonder what did I say her?
It was Foxfish.
Oh, I don't think I wrote the banker's last name. I was curious what was the addition.
Beaver.
Yeah, she married Banker Beaver.
Foxfish, beaver. No, it'd have to be another animal that starts with F. Foxfish, falcon.
Falcon. Okay,
Foxfish, falcon.
I like it. So Maggie met this man, Elijah Kent Kane, who tried unsuccessfully to prove that she was a fraud. When he couldn't prove that she was a fraud, he was like, all right, well, I'm going to decide to court her now. So I guess flirting was a little different back then. What a meet cute, huh?
That's one way to go about it, I suppose.
He wanted her to give up, quote, your life of dreary sameness and suspected deceit.
Wow. That's a little harsh. At least he said suspected deceit. He wasn't like, you lying bitch.
Aw.
Give him a little credit.
Okay. Either way, the two fell in love, but there was a problem. Elijah saw that Maggie, well, what she did was beneath him in his status. And he was a famous Arctic explorer. And he had a trip to go on and decided to make her a deal. As long as she stopped working in her field, he would propose when he got back from his trip.
I'd be working all the way up till the day before this motherfucker gets back.
Let a guy give me an ultimatum like that. I'd be like, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
If you do XYZ, I'll propose.
Now, here's mine. If these were, I'd be like, okay, if I never have to work another day in my life, then okay. But I'm not going to take a job doing some shit that I am miserable doing when I'm still forced to work because of your ass.
I'd still be fuck off.
I still feel like I'm jumping through hoops to keep people happy, so.
She actually did. She left at Kane's advice, and she left her sister on her own, and she went to school at his expense.
Okay.
So Maggie, now leaving Kate to tour alone, this caused a bunch of bitterness between the sisters, and it just grew. Maggie's plan didn't quite turn out as she expected. As her to-be fiancé, he never came back. He died during his voyage in 1857.
Oh, shit.
And Maggie converted to Catholicism after he passed. I've seen this two ways. I've seen that she did get married and he passed right after, but I've seen more of that he went on the trip and never got back and never got to marry her.
I mean, back in the day, going on an Arctic exploring expedition, I can see it being more likely that you don't make it back.
I'd be like, can we get a life insurance policy all set up before you take this little business trip?
Yeah, but you'd have to be married to do that.
I don't know. Back then, people...
Well, no, I guess you could still be the beneficiary. You wouldn't have to be married.
Yeah, people would literally have it for a business partner and stuff, which seems so strange to me. How anyone could just take it out on each other back then. But either way that it happened, Maggie turned to drinking to try to ease her pain, but she still needed to support herself, so she ended up working as a medium. And Kate went on to find a husband of her own, H.G. Jenkins, who was a barrister, as well as a spiritualist.
Oh, okay.
The two started working together. They were making a ton of money during the Civil War time because it was so much death. There's just a vast wave of grieving Americans, which will feed this profession like crazy because everyone's, you're making money off their pain.
Oh, yeah.
So they had tons of work and they were just making bank. And spiritualism, you would think back then, would be shunned, but there were so many reputable and prominent people who were attending seances that it kind of gave social acceptance to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison was really into it, or
Einstein.
Yeah, even Thomas Edison, he created the phonograph. Everyone knows that. He also had plans to make a spirit phone to speak with those beyond the veil.
Which is amazing.
I know. While on the other side, Mark Twain and Houdini were working just as hard to discredit spiritualism.
Which is interesting because I researched a while back the House of Death in New York, and I believe it was Mark Twain who had experiences in the hotel, like that he was staying in. Like it was weird stuff happening to him.
And he's just like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
But everything was great until Kate's husband suddenly passed away from a stroke, leaving Kate a widow with 2 sons to raise. So Kate, like her sister, turned to the bottle. So now Kate and Maggie, who were both filled with bitterness and anger, this whole ordeal from childhood went on for about 40 years, making them all that money, which started great for everyone, but now it was just a big hot mess. And the girls were bickering, and it was all just downhill.
Yeah.
Maggie and Kate were just drinking a lot. And Maggie thought Leah was taking too much money, and Leah thought Kate drank too much, and she couldn't even take care of her kids. And the Fox sisters' career just crashed on October 21st, 1888, at a show with Maggie on the stage. Kate was in attendance, and Leah was nowhere in sight. It was a packed crowd of about 2,000 people.
Oh, damn.
And Maggie, maybe because of the anger towards her sisters, or maybe because of the $1,500 she was offered, who knows, but she said, quote, "My sister Katie and myself were very young when this horrible deception began." She went on to describe perpetuating the fraud of spiritualism onto a public audience. You know what I mean? She told them how it all started when the sisters would tie an apple to a string and drop it on the floor, making sounds. She was sure to remind the crowd of how young she was when this started. The now over 50-year-old woman went on to explain how the girls then started practicing with their toes and demonstrated how the girls had mastered making this loud cracking noise, taking her shoe off and showing the crowd on a stool. Which, even when she explains it, I don't understand how to do it. I tried to do it the first time I looked into this and I couldn't do it.
So there are occasions where my toes will lock up and I can crack them by bending them, and it'll make this horrible cracking sound.
But that's one. I can't make it.
But I can't do it on demand.
Me either.
Maybe they had some weird double jointed thing.
Well, she said by cracking the first joint on your big toe, by flexing a muscle in your leg, which sounded like a knock, and by practicing it over and over, they could control the volume so it sounded like it was coming from different areas or louder. And that's what the girls did. They practiced until they were ready to see how far they could go with it.
So this is like toe ventriloquism.
Pretty much. But the fact that they can change the volume is like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
She went on to describe how sometimes if you hear something, you can feel it even though nothing actually touches you, if that makes sense. Like if something's going to touch you on your shoulder and your eyes are closed, you may feel something that's not there.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And she totally exposed Kate, claiming she knew what was going on the whole time and she was involved in the deception, and that even Leah knew as soon as they went to go stay with her. And she publicly denounced spiritualism. The girls, Kate, remember, also in attendance, was there, and the sisters just got booed and ridiculed. The spiritualism community tried to denounce the confession, saying that the Fox sisters drink too much, they made it up, and they're just doing this to try to ruin Leah.
Yeah.
Because, they want to save face, too. And ultimately, the community just cut all ties with the girls. And a year later, maybe because her funds dried up, or maybe because the community was pressuring her, Maggie tried to recant her confession. She was like, no, I just made it up. The whole world tour thing that I just confessed to everybody.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. I'm joking. Come get a reading from me.
JK.
But the whole thing was just done. It was over. And the sisters never made up. They all ended up dying between 1890 and 1893. And
oh, wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 2 girls died between 1890 and 1893, so a few years apart. And Kate died 2 years later at 56 years old, which I guess...
That's still pretty close together. That's kind of interesting.
So Maggie died... What? The sisters never made up. All died between 1890 and 1893. I'm so confused. Whatever. They all died close together, and they all died dirt poor. And the bones of the supposed peddler that were found behind the false wall were said to have actually been there due to
a rodent?
Well, the false wall itself was said to be there due to like an expansion they were doing on the foundation, and the bone themselves were, you're very close, were that of a chicken.
Oh, that's close.
Which I don't know how you can see a chicken bone and be like, yep, that's the bone of a man.
But that might explain why they referred to it as fragments, because they are so much smaller. And back then, not everybody had the wherewithal to understand the human skeleton. So they just saw bone.
That's true. Yeah, if you just
And
break the bone and you're seeing fragments, that's probably it.
now the hair, on the other hand, that would be a little different.
They probably cleaned out their hairbrush and like threw it in there. And the neighbor's like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. I did not think of that.
Yeah, I was going to, like, how do you make that
Get in the
mistake
shower
then?
drain.
But they, along with the peddler's tin box, are said to be in the Lilydale Museum to this day. Whether out of boredom or a prank that just went too far, the Fox sisters essentially started the spiritualism craze that took the world by storm. So now that I'm done blabbering,
I'm not sure where I stand with this one, because I mean, we're talking, like I said, it started off as teenage girls, which is primo. They're in an alcoholic, more than likely, I mean, I can't say for sure, but more than likely abusive home. There's got to be turmoil and tension. So that's like a recipe for poltergeist to start with. And that would explain why it followed the girls, because it ties to the girl and not the home. It's not like it's coming from like a native burial ground where you built your house or anything. So that kind of makes sense. I'd be interested to know what kind of information, because wasn't it down in the basement they were like ratting on the neighbors, like they were talking shit like about neighbors of things that they should not have known?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like they were getting I thought it was this case where they were having, the neighbors were coming down and doing like seances or talking to people in the basement, and they were doing their thing, and they were like giving out information about the neighbors that they should not have had any knowledge. Like somebody was sleeping with so and so, or
crap.
doing this, that, or the other, and like they should not have known that, but they were giving out that information because they were being told supposedly from the other side.
Oh.
Like it was their way of being like, oh, well, you want proof? Here's proof. And so like Spook was like, listen up. Linda's over here with, Susie's husband. I feel like that was part of it.
But kids can also just sit and listen, and people are like, oh, they're just kids. They won't remember. Or they don't know
But
what we're
this is like
talking
stuff
about.
that was behind closed doors.
Oh, wow.
That people should not have known about. I thought that was part of it. I could be wrong.
It might have been.
But I feel like that's whenever people were like, oh shit, like things are really happening, like this is real, was because they were giving out information that they should not have known. Now, conjuring a poltergeist from the energy and turmoil would not be the same as being a medium. Like those are two totally different things here. So the fact that it's kind of blending in, that's kind of, I mean, unless the spirit is the one that knows all this stuff, but as far as communicating with multiple spirits, that is totally different than, developing a poltergeist based on what's going on in the household with these teenage girls.
Yeah, and even on their private, unless they were really good bullshitters, but when you are private seances, you'd think you'd be asked very direct questions. So I just want to know how they managed to wiggle through that. It's not like it's Google now. You could be like, what's her husband's name, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you can't do soft research or anything like that. Like this is way before all that is even a thing. So I feel like there's two totally different things going on. And the fact that at first they were just doing it to do it, they weren't charging anything, I feel like that adds some validity, because if it was like straight out of the gate, they were charging an arm and a leg, then yeah, it would be, they're more likely to fake it. But it sounds like they did it for a long time, like on the house.
Until this tip started coming. And then they were like, all right, I like the tips.
But back then, I mean, like I said, get while the getting's good. Think about freak shows.
Oh, they make my stomach turn.
They just exploited all these people. Yeah. But a lot of them, they couldn't get a job doing anything else, so they were okay. They were okay being in their family of the circus and all of that stuff, because it was steady income and they couldn't get income anywhere else because they were shunned everywhere else. But in here, they were like famous. So, and I feel like the cracking of the knuckles, although that might explain some, I feel like with all of the stuff that they'd been doing in these private seances and such, that it wouldn't explain everything. Because for me, if you're popping your toes versus knocking on a wall 8 feet away from you, That's two totally different sounds. I don't know of any, like, how would you even do that? Even if you were cracking at different volumes, it would still sound like it's coming from under the table.
Yeah, well, she was making it sound like the vibration on the floor. She could control it, and that would make it sound like it comes from the other side of the room, which I still can't wrap my head around. I don't fully understand it. I tried to sit and think about it, and I don't get it.
I feel like it's a bullshit explanation. Like she was trying to ruin everyone because I just feel like there was so much stuff going on and they wouldn't have lasted that long if that was all like, that's like a cheap parlor trick. I mean, unless these houses were made out of paper, imagine the force it would take to rattle a wall on the other side of the room.
They were probably made a lot cheaper, but I still don't get how it can go to the left or right.
Exactly. I mean, even throwing it far, it seems almost impossible. Like, how would you do that without everybody? Because if you're all sitting around the table, everyone would feel it. It would have to be that it passes by everyone else without vibrating the floor to get to wherever it's at. And to me, I feel like that would be ridiculous. Like everybody would have known to start with if they were doing that.
Well, I wonder if one of the sisters had a gift and the other ones did not. Because the odds of all three, like, I don't think Leah did at all. The sister that later on was like,
100%.
oh, by the way, I totally forgot to tell you guys. I have gifts too.
Unless, okay, so I feel like statistically speaking, for all of the sisters to have it is a little bit outlandish. So if we think about my family, there are, if you count halves, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 siblings, yet I am the only one out of all of the 5 of us that has weird stuff happen to me. No one else has that. So for it to be every single sister seems completely unrealistic, but it very well could have been one or the other. What if something happened in their childhood? And like I said, there was a near-death experience. You fell through a frozen lake, or you got kicked by a horse, or something that brought you back, then you're more likely to have those gifts, or they get escalated in my scenario. Because the weird stuff for me, I mean, yeah, it happened to me. Some of the stuff that I remember has been since I was little. It just didn't escalate until shit got real nasty in my teens. And then everything just kind of escalated. So I think it is probable that at least one of them had something, but for all of them to have something seems a little outlandish.
And the amount of readings they do at once and in a day, that seems like trickery had to be going on. Because I do think that would be too physically exhausting. Even if it was the 3 of them and each one had 10 at the table, like each sister took 10 of the people at a reading. That's still 10 people 3 times a day, plus the ones in between. That's exhausting.
But did it for sure say that every person at the seance got attention?
It doesn't say
because
that.
I can see 30 people being at the table, but 1, maybe 2 spirits come in. And it doesn't happen all the time. It's, I mean, I've never, very seldom have I tried to get one person's attention. But then again, I don't also practice. I don't try. It just kind of happens. So I can't say for sure yay or nay, but I feel like, especially if you were trying to get a specific person other than just somebody who's floating around, it's going to take even more energy to try to get that, because you don't know where that person's at. I mean, yeah, they might be following this person around, but what if they're not? What if you got to go fetch them from the astral zone or whatever you want to call it, the veil?
Not everyone like that, but they usually just go in and there's one person, and whoever they get, they say that that's who they have. So I don't understand how the 3 and the 30 work. Like, was there like 3 conversations going on?
See, that's what I'm wondering, if it was just one person, maybe one was coming out strong, or maybe there's a couple or whatever. And it very well could have been that more than one of them were communicating with one spirit.
Or they're just up there fully bullshitting. I'm seeing a grandmother that passed away, like the most vague things, and just keeping it going the whole thing.
Have you ever seen the show The Mentalist?
No.
You should watch it. It's a really, really, really good show. And it's a guy who used to be a quote unquote psychic. But what he was doing is he was like soft reading people and judging like their reactions and stuff. So like it goes into that. And then there's people that are legit, but like he tries to debunk them, and he explains like how they're doing it.
Mhm.
It's a really good show, I feel, because there are so many people out there that I feel are not legitimate, but there are people out there, like, so much stuff has happened to me personally that I can 100% not say that this is bullshit, because so much weird stuff has happened to me personally that I'm like, this is a real thing.
No, as a whole, it's not that. It's just with these girls, was that all
Mhm.
trickery?
I'm with you that maybe one of them had gifts and the other one's fed off of it.
And they just learned how to bullshit throughout life. Like, they
Yeah.
just fed into it, because back then, especially young girls, very unassuming that they're reading you and that they're, like you said, feeding off of it, basically just micro facial expressions that you do,
Mhm.
and they just get to learn those, practice them, see them over and over. They know what gets people going. You know what I mean? You know, you just lost your son. Oh, I'm seeing your son. He said he wants to talk to you. He said, "Ma," you know?
Mommy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've actually had that happen to me. It scared the shit out of me. Like, I was asleep and I got woke up because I kept hearing mommy, mommy. And I'm like, what? I turned everything off and I'm like, hello? Like, what? Because I thought it was my kid. And then it would be a little louder. And then I would stop and I'm like, what do you need, bub? Like, I'm talking to my kid. And then nothing. And it would get a little louder. And it did it like 3 or 4 times. And then it was like that when you lose your kid at the grocery store,
Panic.
that you could hear the panic in the voice. And
Mhm.
it was like, mommy. So scared. I mean, I jumped out of that bed, whipped the door open, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So then I immediately was like, okay, I need to go check on my kid. I take a few steps out of my bedroom door. And right about the time I realized, I'm like, wait, my son doesn't call me mommy.
Ugh.
My son calls me mom. And right about the time I realized that, like, there were giggles behind me.
Yeah.
Like, ha, gotcha. And I was like, the fuck is this? I was like, no.
Kid spirits are scary as shit, man.
I've been woke up before, like something was grabbing, when you wake someone up and you grab their toes, and you kind of shake their foot.
Nope.
Like, I was having a horrible nightmare and it felt like somebody had grabbed a hold of my foot and was waking me up. Like, all this weird stuff has happened. Sometimes it gets a little crazy up in here.
When in doubt, sage it out.
Yep, sage right here. And I got a whole bunch. I got 4 more bundles down there.
Good stuff. I know, I got some sage candles, so when we do our spirit box sessions, because after, I like to close it all out.
I saw this post and it was so funny. It said, work harder, not smarter. And it had a sage stick burning on a bowl that was set on like a Roomba. So the Roomba was going around the house, saging the house.
That's awesome.
I was like, that is phenomenal. I was like, I don't know how you got to stay on there, but that is a great idea. Like I said, I'm still sticking on. Maybe one of them probably had something, but for all 3 of them to have it, I feel like at least 2 of them, at least one for sure. And then it would also be interesting to know family background. Like, if mom experienced things when she was younger, or they had a grandmother because it runs in the family. I mean, it's one of those things that it's usually one generation. Each generation has one rando that's weird. I would be said weirdo. My aunt would be said weirdo. Like, it seems like there's one that's very, I guess, gifted. I'm not sure if I would call it a gift all the time, but I feel like it would be interesting to know what kind of other background they had and more details, like what noises were coming from the bedroom.
I thought we decided it was farts.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but you know what I mean? Like, and what kind of information they were giving out. Because I swear, I don't know if I was listening to something or I was doing something, and it was like the girls were calling out like things that they should not have known. So stuff like that would have been interested to know what they were saying or who exactly they were communicating with, or if it was more than knocks or something like that. Like, that would be interesting for me to know, just more details to kind of get a better idea of what they were experiencing so that I could make a better determination of whether or not I believe it.
Even if it was all bullshit, it is kind of cool how these like young girls started this spiritualism craze.
It's impressive. And if they were making all this up and they were reading people so well and stuff like that, they had to have been highly intelligent.
That's still impressive if they did that too.
Yeah. So
didn't you just talk about a snake oil salesman?
Yeah, I said that was Half Hang Mary's husband.
Yeah.
He was gone forever, so he must have been a snake oil salesman. Or he sold vacuum cleaners door to door or something.
But that's what I mean. People that can sell like that, or especially young women back then who didn't have the voice that men did. They weren't looked at as like a whole person. Like you were just like, eh.
Yeah.
And then you're a teenager too? Gross.
And so many times it was chalked up to hysteria back then that I'm surprised that they made it as far as they did with so many people saying that they were legitimate. So there had to have been something going on to convince that many people to start this thing. I mean, if it was just like a couple little things here and there, that's not going to spark this. But for it to spark so large and just catch everything ablaze around it, to me, there had to have been a decent amount of things that actually made sense.
And you're in like arenas with thousands of people watching you.
Imagine the energy in that place.
So the fact that they can do it and not be detected if they were doing fraud things there, and the shit they went through, that's still disgusting. The fact that they just
that is gross.
That makes me completely sick. But the rest of the story I love.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's really cool. And it makes, I mean, even still today, there's a lot of flack. Like, so for me, I don't usually, go around telling everybody all the weird shit that's happened to me because people think I'm nuts. And especially back then, it would have been even more stigmatized than it is today. And it just blows my mind. So hats off to these girls.
Right. But yeah, that's all I got. And if you guys, I just break. The whole day today I've been broken. I'm sorry. Every single episode I'm broken.
All right. Yeah, go check us out. Don't forget social media. Yep. If you have any requests, any comments, anything like that, feel free, please comment on the social media. If you've got any requests or stories, anything weird that's happened to you, send it over to creepitweirdpodcast@gmail.com. We're wanting to get some listener episodes kind of out there. So send those in. We'd appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the Patreon page. We have video episodes out there. We're getting some additional episodes out there. We're going to, it's one a month, right? So one a month for all of the tiers that we have currently, that you get a bonus episode. There's a tier where you can do video episodes. We've got ad-free listening on there if you don't like listening to the ads whenever you're going through this. We got a little bit of everything. Again, we're going to get the merch rolling at some point soon. Not sure when. We just got some stuff going on, but we'll try to get that sorted out. But I think that's pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
So thank you everyone for listening, and remember to creep it weird.
Bye.
Bye.